Welcome to the eCom Growth Show. This is a very special episode because I, as you can see, am not in my regular studio. I am in my friend's studio at Gravity Media in Clearwater, Florida. And I've got a very special guest with me. At least I'll claim that in front of him. And this is my friend Eric Weisser. He is a top 100 Amazon seller, as well as a 3PL, as well as many other things. Eric, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is fantastic. This is a cool space. It's dimly lit. You probably can't see that, but this is like cozy. It's really good.
So I have no idea what I want to talk to you about. So why don't we start off with how'd you do it? How did you become a top 100 seller?
Yeah. So what I tell people all the time, the name of the game in any e-commerce, it doesn't matter if you're D2C or Amazon or reseller, you have to have access to product. And so a lot of sellers really struggle with this. We struggle with this, but when we started,
I don't know if struggle is the right word, but okay.
It's hard. Like if you can't get product, it doesn't matter how great you are. If you don't have access to product, it's hard to be a seller. You can sell services. That's different, but we've always sold products. And the way we got into this game was my dad had a tool truck. It was an independent tool sales, like Snap-on, but independent. So we sold things like Ingersoll Rand, 3M, Vice Grip, things like that.
I've purchased from people like him.
Right. So, and the name of his game, the name of the Snap-on game is selling on payments. You buy an expensive toolbox, you pay for it over 10 years, just like you would a car. My dad went the other way and he sold directly to body shops, people that had money, they paid, on the 10th of the month. And he had access to about 300 different lines because we're in South Dakota. And he said, Eric, do you want to take this business over? I said, not really, but it was a profitable business, blood, sweat, and tears, all the things. It was a legit business. It had profit, but it was just a job. And I talked to my wife about it and we decided we should take a shot at this. Fast forward like a year, I took technology from like the 1970s to about the 1990s. We got a couple laptops. We went from paper and pen to putting things into a computer. We printed off invoices on the truck rather than writing them by hand. And so my dad went from working 80 hours a week and both of us went down to about 30 hours a week. And I wouldn't call myself a workaholic, but I like to work. I like to sell. I like the business, all those things. And so we started looking for things to do. Really couldn't find anything. It's South Dakota. We had the market saturated or what we wanted in the market. But my dad dropped this bombshell on me about a year in. He said, you can have the business, of course, but you have to buy the inventory from me. Mm-hmm. At the time, he had $300,000 worth of inventory. I was debt-free. I didn't even have a house. I was living in an apartment, loving my financial situation. And,
and a school teacher, right?
And well, so interesting. I was a school teacher for 3 years. And the beautiful thing about 2008, a lot of crazy things happened. Well, in 2008, the Mankato, Minnesota school district had budget cuts and my position was cut. And so
you were fired as a school teacher. I see. They didn't want you around. Oh, okay. Sorry.
So I stayed on at that school as a tennis coach. I had a couple little side hustles I was doing. Perfectly happy, actually. I got married. My wife was an assistant tennis coach for me. It was fantastic. But this business thing happens, and so we moved to Sioux Falls. I get the bombshell. What am I going to do with this $300,000 liability? Is what I looked at it as. And I said, we just got to get this inventory number down. Like if it was 200,000, that sounds a lot better than 300,000.
Yeah.
And the only way I knew how to do that was I couldn't sell tools. I don't really know anything about tools or body shops or automotive, as you know.
I find it very funny that your dad sold to mechanics and stuff like that. But you are not mechanically inclined.
And neither is my dad, actually.
Oh, really?
So he doesn't know he's never changed his own oil. He probably could figure it out. He doesn't use, tools in a professional sense. And that actually is probably why he was successful. He didn't sell on, he sold features and values of different products. And it worked.
And your company today sells an enormous amount of automotive products.
And so the difference is here's one of the interesting things about scale. So if you have one tool truck, you basically carry one kind of sander, one kind of sandpaper, one kind of latex glove. Because if you add another latex glove line, you just cut your sales in half. You don't sell any extra. Maybe one or two because somebody's particular, but you're not going to double sales. Well, in e-commerce, as you add lines, your sales go up with incrementally there. So that was interesting for us. So we had access to a lot of, let's call it latex glove lines. We just sold one.
Yeah.
But because I needed to get rid of this big inventory glut, said let's first of all, let's sell all the dirty, the dusty, the nasty.
Yeah.
And it started selling like crazy. I mean, as people know, if you're watching this podcast, things do sell online at hyperscale.
And what year was this? This would have
been like 2012.
Okay.
2012, 2013. And so we're driving down the road on the tool truck, going to Lyons, South Dakota, Mitchell, South Dakota, Yankton, South Dakota, all these towns. So what we had was windshield time. And after a year, I don't want to say I got sick of talking to my dad, but we kind of covered all the things. And so now my dad's driving the tool truck. I'm there on a laptop looking for the dusty things on the truck. Yeah. What can I sell this for? And what people watching this podcast know how to look at data. I was looking at it very rough. What's the bestseller rank? It's 50,000. It probably sells this many, but we had the inventory. So we didn't need to worry about ordering.
Yeah.
Just list it.
Yeah.
List it and it sells. List it and it sells. So fast forward a little bit longer. My dad says, well, this is great. How do we sell more? So I was like, well, we got to list more. Yeah. We got the product. It's sitting here and paid for.
Yeah.
So we hired a neighbor kid to help us ship so I could list more.
Yep.
And then question again, how do we sell more? Well, if neighbor kid could list and I could help ship, we just need someone to help us list things. So we hired a gentleman to just put things on eBay, go through price lists and catalogs and do a little research and just start listing. And so that was 2012, 13. And we hired about one employee a month for like 8 years. So we get up to about 100 employees, $100 million a year in revenue, like everything's cooking. And then, along the lines, we got to buy some warehouses and move a little bit, add some warehouses, forklifts, all the crazy things.
Yeah. So I think that's actually going to be the title of this, is like from tool truck to something. Because how many square feet? You have 30,000 in T and 75,000 in Sioux Falls.
Yeah. So T is like around 50. We did some additions into T, and then Sioux Falls is just under 100. Okay. Plus we're entrepreneurs, so we own like the storage units around there too. So it's like another 20.
So call it 175,000.
Sure.
Yeah. Plus your garage.
Yeah. Plus the garage. My dad always says whenever the warehouse employees look at a deal, say, well, geez, we'd have to order, 25 pallets of this. And my dad was like, well, for that kind of money, I'll put it in my garage. Like if the price is right, we can always find space. Yeah. That got us into trouble a couple different times. What we didn't know, and if you chat GPT this, it'll say like, what's the best warehouse utilization? It's like 80%. That way you always have open slots. You don't have to move things around. Well, we didn't know that moving in. Like, oh, you have 200 open pallet slots? Well, fill them.
Yeah.
We don't need extra space. Well, you do.
Okay, so I have no experience with this. I've been to your facility and seen your operation and how things just go down the line. But so you want open space so that you don't have to shuffle things around to get to things.
Correct.
And so your efficiency goes up by having empty space.
That's right. Yeah. And floor space being like the creme de la creme. Yeah. Floor space number one, and then floor picking space. And so if you're in the 3PL space, if you don't need a forklift to pick product to ship, it's expensive because you have limited floor space, but now I can have you don't need to be able to drive a forklift. You can just walk to pick the product. But
then there's a certain size where it's like, well, now you need a golf cart to go get the product.
That's right. I bought some bikes once, these little 3-wheeled trikes in our Las Vegas facility. It was awesome.
Were they electric?
No, they were pedals. So you got your exercise.
Oh man. Okay. So, but how is anyone going to track their steps by using a tricycle?
It's a thing we do actually. Yeah. We have one of our oldest employees, name's Bruce. We have step challenges all the time. He plays pickleball. After he gets done working, he does like 20,000 steps a day. It's unbelievable.
That requires walking, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Well, next subject. So let's talk about what it takes to be a 3PL. Now, let's go into like what your split is. So we started this off like you have to be able to find product, right? So you have that probably better solved than most, considering I've seen your warehouse. I've been to T, I've been to the other one. Where do you live again? Sioux Falls. Thank you. And I want to know, okay, cool. You have product solved, but what about money?
That's a great question.
Like the way I operate my business takes zero cash flow. We have no liquid cash out on our products. We get our products on consignment and we pay the manufacturer once a month, right? I could scale infinitely doing that. I don't, but we could. But you are limited to the degree that you have to give somebody money for product before you sell it. And I know we've discussed maybe altering that agreement with some manufacturers, but how do you do that? Like, how do you handle cash? If you had product on hand, $300,000 worth of product on hand, and I know you can use that as equity, right? Mm-hmm. So you can use that as equity to go get more capital. Mm-hmm. But is that what you did?
Yeah. So when I took over the business, or when I partnered with my dad, the inventory was paid off. We had a line of credits. We had 300,000 inventory, 100,000-ish line of credit just in case we needed something. We also, at the time, we had vendor financing. Certainly if we were buying from a warehouse, like another reseller, they would finance us. And if we bought enough, maybe that would be 3 months of financing, or 6 months, or some special. We'd buy a year's worth of product and they'd give us 12 months dating. Very, 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 very nice in the Amazon space when your supplier will do that.
Yeah. Because you can start revenue now. And so, okay, so you're talking about terms, net 30, net 60, net 90, but you're saying that they'd go 12 months before you could pay it off. And do they want you on a payment program, or you just have 12 months, zero interest?
So it's all negotiation, but typically with the 12 months, it's 12 equal payments. Okay. And so here's what gets really nuts. You buy $1 million of a national brand. I'm going to use one like Ingersoll Rand, and we got 12 months dating from Ingersoll Rand. We actually could take that, it's called $1 million worth of product, re-leverage that. So we could take that because it's unencumbered. So the bank will be the first lien holder. Ingersoll Rand carries all the risk here, but they want to sell product, and they know how to sell product for Ingersoll Rand as they get it into the hands of distributors. I'm using Ingersoll Rand. We don't have like any direct relationship with them, but we sell a lot of their product. And they helped us grow, and we have a good relationship with them, but nothing direct.
So what you're saying is basically you become a bank, but by using physical product. Like at a bank, you deposit your money, and they get to loan that 9 times over, right? And that loan is just assessed on the risk of the person that they're giving the money to. So what you're saying is you can go and negotiate some sort of favorable terms for you, then take that as equity to get cash flow out of it, and then arguably reinvest that cash flow into the company. Obviously not go to Mexico and drink it away or something like that, or party it away. But, is that how you grew then? You use your existing equity to go get cash, and use the cash to get product, and use the product to get cash? Yeah.
So it reminds me, and if you're watching this podcast, maybe
I'm not going to watch this podcast.
Who does?
My mom.
Like and subscribe. Okay.
Yeah. Or else.
So the people that do podcasts on like growing a real estate portfolio, you buy real estate, you pay a little bit of it down, you re-leverage. Well, we got to do that with the inventory. And so as you sell product, you have profits, you can reinvest your profits. And then you reinvest your profits in more inventory, you can re-leverage your inventory. And the key with this is, for those of you that are like just starting in e-commerce, is you got to have really good books.
Yeah.
So it starts with really good books, and then you can have a conversation with a banker. And I tell people all the time, like, you should have a couple bankers you just have conversations with. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know what your needs are. And then they're going to come back and say yes or no. And there's this perception out there for young entrepreneurs is banks don't, I'm not bankable. It's actually not true. Like, banks are in the business of loaning money.
Yeah.
So let them know what you're doing. Let them know what your collateral is. And if it's good inventory of 3M sandpaper, Ingersoll Rand, Sanders, Vice grips, that's good inventory that ultimately, and what they'll talk to you about is liquidation. So what's the liquidation value of this? Because that's what if you go belly up, if you drink it in Mexico, they're gonna take the inventory, liquidate it, and they want to make sure that they get paid. Likelihood of that happening is pretty slim. Especially if you've got good books, you've got a number of years in business. So they've told us 1,000, we don't want to liquidate this. Like, we want you to be successful. And I do believe them on that. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, they make a lot more money that way.
100%. So we somewhere along the line, we hired a fractional CFO. And this was like step one of like making this from a job business to a business that provided jobs for us very early on. And I remember asking the guy, I was like, so what's a CFO even do? And the answer that he gave me was, well, I'll be in all of your accounting meetings, and I'll be in all of your meetings with your banker. And I remember thinking, there's no way in hell that I would allow anybody in those. These are important meetings. This is how we live, different things. And now looking back, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I don't even know anything about tools, much less about finance and banking. And so we hire a professional to do it.
You and I have had enough conversations that I think I can safely argue that you do know a thing or two with this.
Well, so I learned. So we had a great fractional CFO. We've had a couple of them actually. Mike Ritter, shout out to Mike Ritter, fantastic guy, taught me a ton. And no disrespect to Mike, like, it's not rocket science. Like, it's rinse and repeat once you get these things in motion, but you've got to get started. And he helped us get started. We interviewed like a dozen banks. That was really interesting. I didn't even think that was a thing.
Yeah.
We interviewed a number of accountants. That makes sense to me, but interviewing banks for our business was like backwards. My dad always talked about, when you talk to a banker, you're in the hot seat.
Yeah.
And you take whatever they give you.
Yeah.
That's actually not the case. Like, we're an important customer to our bank. They want us to succeed. They want us to keep paying the interest. And
yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. And then that covers, well, where do you go to get these products actually? Like, let's say I'm starting out. I go, okay, I have some capital in hand. Let's say I've got 10 grand. Where would you suggest I start?
Really good question. So say 15 years ago, we were the customer and we called the shots. We called them up. We have money. We want to buy this. They'd say, here's our price list. And we would go. It's actually flipped now. There's plenty of people that can sell online. And so we are now the vendor. And so what can we do for these multinational companies? And we're not the perfect fit for everybody, but we're the customer. We have to sell ourselves. So part of that size and scale. So we've sold nearly $1 billion worth of products on marketplaces. So that gets our foot in the door. And then the next question is, well, how's your relationship with Amazon? Oh, shitty. Well, let me give you my cell phone number. Do you have anybody's number at Amazon? No. And so we're boutique enough. We have the size and scale, but we're still boutique enough where you can call the CEO on a Saturday and most of the time he'll answer.
Unless it's me calling.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. And then let's talk about 3PLs. You mentioned that earlier. So you are now a 3PL or offer your services as a 3PL. So having been to your facility and seen the operations, I know that it is critically important to your bottom line to ensure that you have the most well lubricated machine in there and things just flow along the line. And so we discussed this at one point where when you have a container coming in, you're doing how many containers? 2 containers a day?
Yeah, like between 1 and 2 a day.
Yeah, no big deal. So you're doing between 1 and 2 containers a day. So that is truck backing up, bay door open, in and out with the pallet jacks, or you probably drive your forklifts straight on, but forklifts. And then you've got 2 different types of forklifts.
Oh yeah.
Right? 3,
4, you want to have the right, my dad's a tool salesman, right? The one thing he taught me is, when you're selling to these mechanics, you want to have the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
So same thing in unloading containers. You want to have the right tool for the job.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you've got high, like long-term storage stuff, you want to put it up high. And so that has to go from one forklift to the next.
Right.
That has, because you've got 70-foot ceilings, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it goes 8 pallets high.
8 pallets high. Yeah.
50 some feet, I think.
Yeah. Don't fall off the top of that.
Well, they waver. Like once you get up that high, the forklifts actually waver a little bit. And they tell me that that's normal.
Of course. Like buildings, when you're at the 100th floor of a building and you can feel it doing this and your windows are creaking, it's totally normal.
Yeah, but we have one of those, it's not laser guided, but we have the wire guided. So very safe. And they, I don't want to say they drive themselves, but they're very safe. They kind of
it's fine, themselves. OSHA. It's fine. They don't drive themselves. They drive themselves. All right. And then, so let's talk about that efficiency though. I'm not going to say the number. I know what it is. You have put in gargantuan amounts of money into trying to figure out your digital systems as well as your physical systems for efficiency. What have you learned?
Great question. So first thing I'll tell you is being in the middle of the country solves a lot of our problems. Okay. two things. We can ship to both coasts in 2 days, 2 or 3. Can't get everywhere in the country, but that's one of our niches. Yeah. So you can't location. It fixes a lot of things for us. Yeah. And then number 2, being in the Midwest, we have the Midwest workforce. They work for a fair wage. It's non-union. We can treat people fairly because it's non-union and those types of things. Yeah. And they can live in South Dakota. And I don't recommend this, but if you didn't lock your door, you're going to be fine. If you didn't lock your car door, you're going to be fine. You can live in a nice house in T, and they've gone up, but for a reasonable amount, your kids can go to public school. They're good public schools. They can play sports, all the things. So we're just blessed that, my grandparents, great grandparents were bad at farming, but this is where they landed. And we, my family just never left. So that part worked.
Well, that's okay. They sired somebody that's good at farming money. So, yeah.
And so that's the main thing. We have people that care, that work hard, show up every day, and they show up every day because they don't have problems at home. Like those things are solved in South Dakota. And then number 2, then we start to lay over software and big data on top of that.
And how important was that, the big data?
Unbelievable. So when it was me and my dad on the truck, here's our inventory management. I'd say, Dad, how much can we buy this for? We'd look it up. Okay, it's $12 and it sells for $20. So can we get an unlimited supply of that? Yes. So Amazon, I just typed in $999, and we'd have 20 or 30 on hand, and that'd be fine. But there'd be days you'd sell 60. And, oh crap. Yeah. But we're in the Midwest, so we can get the product in from our manufacturers in a couple days. We didn't care about metrics as much back then, and these didn't happen all the time. But so that's where we started. And as we grew, that of course became a problem. Yeah. And so early on, I remember just doing a Google search. How do I solve this inventory madness? And the first thing that popped up was a company called ChannelAdvisor. I called them, and at the time we were probably doing I don't know, $25,000 a month. I said, well, when I was talking to them on the phone, what kind of customer do you have? Well, typically our clients are doing $100,000 a month in sales. Like, oh, that's us. Tell me more. Because I knew the growth trajectory. So I knew we could make that work. And then we talked about pricing but what ChannelAdvisor did was brought legitimacy to our inventory. If we have 20 on hand, we put 20 on eBay, 20 on Amazon, now 20 on Walmart and all the other marketplaces. And when we sold 4 on eBay, it took those quantities down. So we've always used ChannelAdvisor, probably best of breed, most expensive, very hard to move away from at this point. And then we needed, great for ChannelAdvisor. And then we layered NetSuite on top of that. Before they were bought by Oracle, they got bought by Oracle. The price went up. They're not my favorite people, but the software works.
Yeah. And full disclosure for all of you listening, if you're at the point where you need NetSuite, you're at the point where you could join Eric's masterclass on this stuff. You don't need NetSuite until what? 50 million?
Probably. Yeah, that'd be 25. It just depends on your growth trajectory and what you want to invest in. But yeah, if you're under $10 million, it's probably not the solution for you. There's plenty of solutions out there. We like NetSuite. We like the reliability. Just don't like the price tag at the moment. And then on top of that, then we have RFSmart. That's like our warehouse management and shipping software. So the barcode and scanning. Mm-hmm. So everything, the big thing for us was, here's what would happen. You don't want to have too much inventory on hand. And so a pallet of goods would come in and we would check it in, and maybe somebody would enter in that purchase order or that pack slip and it'd be for sale. Well, it starts selling and nobody would know where the product was until we brought in RFSmart. Like, oh, it's on the dock still. Fantastic. Now, in terms of inventory turns, we get to start selling that product and know where it's at as soon as somebody dings it on the docks. And then when they start splitting it and 4 goes here and 40 goes there, we know exactly where those things are as the product starts selling. Cool. Our banker also likes that. They like to know where their money's at. Yeah. We talk about inventory on shelves is just dollar bills on the shelf. And so if it were actual dollar bills, you'd probably want to know exactly where that is at all times.
What density of dollar bills do we have over here? Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of density of dollar bills, how many hats do you have on the shelf over at your...
Great question.
I love how every one of my questions is great.
Yeah. So we bought a company a while ago called FC Goods, and they make wallets.
Yep.
But now we do. We buy old baseball gloves and send them to the Dominican Republic. They make them into wallets. Well, of course, if you have a baseball wallet company, by the way, I just heard my phone go off. I sold a wallet.
Yeah. Is that what that was? That's awesome.
So
you should have put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Okay. We're going to restart the podcast. Thanks for coming, everybody. Eric is going to.
So this is FC Goods. And so any luxury goods company has to have swags. We have t-shirts and hats. And I love it when people buy hats.
Yeah.
Because it's my company, my logo.
Yep.
We don't sell as many as we need to, but they're fun to make. And so we have 20 different styles. We have plenty of them on the shelf.
I actually was going to wear a hat and forgot to bring it, and also forgot to do my hair, which is why I'm using sunglasses. So I hold my hair up. But did you bring me a hat by chance?
You can buy them at fcgoods.com. I'll give you a coupon code EW20. Save 20%.
There you go. Mom, 20% off of a hat for me for Christmas. Love you. Okay, cool. So let's talk about, let's say I'm starting out. Would you approach these manufacturers for some sort of an agreement, or would you go an alternate route like a distributor of some sort?
Yeah. So the first thing I always think about is, how do you add value? Maybe that's, this is a beautiful content studio. If I had this content studio, I'd be pimping this constantly to our vendors. If I'm really good at content writing, or if I'm really good photographer, I would start to look for people that have terrible pictures on eBay and Amazon. Okay. And I said eBay and Amazon. One of the things that we talk about is, because we're multi-channel, Amazon's the king here, but we're also on eBay and Walmart and Best Buy and Target and Home Depot and all these different places. It's a big deal. If I'm a manufacturer, I don't want to just be on Amazon. I want to be everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point. Okay. So marketplace diversification then would be a good sell. And I don't think in our space, there's all that many people that are on all those platforms, especially Best Buy and Target.
Right. Yeah. So those are new, and we're Michaels. There's all these and Michaels is not a huge marketplace for us, but we have a few things because we sell glues and adhesives from 3M, right? Well, that's a Michaels thing. We sell really good glues in the automotive style. And so some of that stuff will sell really good on Michaels.
How do you manage that aspect of it? All these listings on all these marketplaces, I would go batty.
Yeah. So that's where ChannelAdvisor comes in. And it's not, my dad has this thing, he says, it's not a problem if money can solve it. And so, yes, it is hard, but money can certainly solve your marketplace issues. And ChannelAdvisor is the folks that do that for us.
Got it. Okay, cool. I don't really have any other questions for you. Was there anything you'd like to elect to my listener?
Yeah, good question.
Thanks.
So I said good question a lot. Sorry about that.
No, I appreciate that all of my questions are good. Thanks.
So when I talk to young people starting in this, because it's flipped from customer to now we're the vendor, we're supplying this service. Yeah. And so when somebody comes to us, which we love, we're buying whatever they're selling. So if they want us to do 3PL, fantastic. If they want to do some sort of consignment agreement, great. If they want us to buy the product, fantastic. We can make any of those things work. And there are people in the entrepreneurial community that said, just do what you do best and focus in on that. Mm-hmm. And so my response to them in this is, what we're really good at is logistics and pretty good at finance too. Mm-hmm. The selling, Amazon's great at marketing. They're great at listings. And if your listings are crappy on Amazon, they get suppressed, or they'll tell you hey, this isn't converting where you need it to. Yep. So all of that solves itself. But at the end of the day, how do we listen to the vendors and do what they need to be done? And so we have a customer called GameDay Social. So I'd say we're really good at selling tools. Amazon's really good at selling tools. We're really good at having a tool mix, right? GameDay Social sells women's collegiate wear, the farthest thing from Ingersoll Rand Sanders, right? Yeah. But what we're really good at is having people in our warehouse that can receive container after container, sticker, label, bag, repackage, reship out. So we're really good at that. And that's what GameDay Social needs for us. They're great at sales. They're in national retailers all over the place. We get to help them very quickly receive a container. And the creme de la creme in the 3PL world is being able to cross-stock. When that container comes in, can we ship it directly out without putting it away? cost, first of all, we charge when we put it away, and we charge a monthly storage fee. But if we could just keep it on our dock, re-sticker, relabel, and send it back out to a national retailer, or right in, if it's our product, into Amazon, that saves us time, which makes us money. And that's where we win.
Okay. So that actually, well, I had a thought about that. So you are managing everything on that. Their platform is really just marketing and sales at this point. You handle everything else, shipping, logistics, in, out. Obviously, they handle the
and it's not just shipping. It's like shipping. It goes all the way to shipping negotiations. When you ship thousands of packages, there is money to be made in the nickels of shipping and buying of the boxes, buying of the labels. What kind of label printing machines do you need?
Yeah.
Should your monitors be touchscreen or not? Little things like that matter. And so we're picking up pennies and nickels all the time.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. There's somebody, what was his name? He said, if you saw like 13 cents on the ground, you might walk by it. But if you saw it 13,000 times, you'd start picking it up, you know? Yeah. Gosh, who was that said that? Whatever. So let me ask you this. I know a number of 3PLs in the space. You're the only one that I know that came from a selling background and optimized the heck out of the selling and fulfillment side of things before you ever open the doors to being a 3PL. And if I'm not mistaken, that college apparel that you're talking about, I was there for that meeting. I was in that meeting for some reason, right? I don't think I was supposed to be there, but that was one of your first clients, or second client, or something like that, right?
Yeah, I had this theory that we're really good at shipping, receiving, warehousing. We had space, and so GameDay Social is local to Sioux Falls, so we had an inherent advantage.
Yep.
We knew each other. We knew. Of course, we think we know everything. We could see her pain points coming because she was a growing company, and so we got to help. Just being helpful people, and they're in e-commerce. And so we got to talking, and our CFO at the time, a full-time CFO, not this fractional, we had a full-time CFO, said, why are you all these people in their company, they're great at designing shirts. Why are you unloading containers?
Yeah.
Why are you storing product?
Yeah. I remember she said they were putting them in their parking lot because they had nowhere to put them.
Yeah. Which is it's a good problem for entrepreneurs to have, but it's one that you need to solve very quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. And then when it comes to pricing, because you're so efficient and because you do such velocity of sales, of fulfillment and shipping and stuff like that, you're able to offer better prices to sellers. Yes. Right.
So, and you'll see advertisements on Instagram and YouTube that say free storage for the rest of the year. And that's just a marketing technique, and that's fine. We can do those types of things as well.
Expensive fulfillment though.
Right. So we don't advertise that way. We look at this holistically, and we do what's right for the company. Because if you want just cross-docking, maybe your pallet storage is a little bit higher because it's a little bit out of the norm, but we hone in on, what are you doing over and over and over again? And then how can we help you do that better within our system?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's, as you well know, I have a lot of friends in the space, and the amount of times someone has said, yeah, I got this 3PL and then it was this fee and then that fee and then this fee. I really detest marketing methods that is like, get a car for $99 a month plus $875,000 a year in fees. It's like, come on. Like, you're just using that to basically, it's a bait and switch.
Yeah. And that's just not how we operate. We're Midwestern handshake deals. We'll have some sort of contract, but they're handshake deals at the end of the day, which is a little bit scary, but it keeps us on our toes as well.
Yeah.
And that's just how we've always operated.
Me too. But I'm from California. That's weird.
It is weird in California. True. It's also hard to ship from California to the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's expensive, slow, all the bad things.
Yeah. You remember when we were having issues taking in container ships? I was actually in California at that time, and I looked at the map of the container ships, and there were just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And you look out there at night, and it looked like a city with all the lights out there. All right. Well, cool. Eric, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it, my friend. And how do people get a hold of you if they want?
Yeah, the best way I would tell people all the time is LinkedIn. So follow me on LinkedIn. We do produce some sort of content on LinkedIn. It's a strategic focus of ours. So LinkedIn, WeiserDistributing.com, MarketplacePros.com for our two different businesses. If you're a vendor that wants to sell product better, we're happy to talk that way.
Oh, that reminds me. That was going to be a question of mine. Will you do full brand management?
Sure. Yeah. And we have a few companies we're doing this for. At the end of the day, what we know we're very good at on the Amazon side, just because we've been doing it for so long. It just makes sense. If you're using us for 3PL, we'll do the Amazon stuff as well, as much as you want. Some people just still like to do the ordering. Great. We have a product where we can give ordering recommendations. That's one of my favorites. Here's what you think. Here's what we think. And then we'll see who's right. And we can actually help tweak each other. Okay. And because we're a finance company too, right? Like that's where we got our chops, or how we really were successful. I think we're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
And we love those kind of discussions.
So, okay. What if a brand wants to learn more about how you do this and do it for themselves? What's the name of your mastermind?
Oh, that's a good one. Let's think of something right now.
Eric Weisser Mastermind.
Coming soon.
Well, I think we're going to end on that note. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this far, but you've made it to the end. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Eric, thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's weird to be in person. All right, let's